Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to begin to share in my podcast, some of who I'm calling my cozy Care Bears. In my Praying Mantis YouTube membership group, I've got a bunch of huge hearted people that have a lot to share the world. And on the theme of my podcast of moving from chaos to cozy, Spirit just wanted me to really share individuals from my Praying Mantis group and maybe others eventually too, on what their challenges were, what kind of sparked them to get into different type of healings and, like I said, modalities and different things. And I thought, how perfect not have to share them on this podcast with you all. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce you here to our first cozy Care Bear, which is Sue. So, Sue, tell us about you.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to see the cozy Care Bears. Like, woohoo, cozy Care Bears.
Woo woo.
Yep. Um, I I'm thrilled to be here. Definitely can relate to the cozy, chaos to cozy theme. Um, my whole entire journey, instead of a destination, has been back and forth between chaos and cozy. So
Mhm.
I'm at the moment at a very cozy spot. So
All
happy
right.
to share.
Woo!
Yay!
Celebrate that, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Um, Basically, I just would like to share with everyone that life is a journey, not a destination. So you're going to have all of these different things that spur you along in your journey, and different moments of chaos that cause awakenings in you. But for me, the main theme, there was one main theme throughout my whole entire journey, which is water. So I started to think about how can I bring the water into the modalities that I do for clients, and how can I make it so that it's more meaningful for them. And so throughout my life, water was it. I was an avid swimmer, competitive swimmer, lifeguard. Just every chance I got, I was near the water. So that's the reason why I wanted to bring it in and share with other like-minded individuals too. Like everybody has their little water spot,
Mhm.
basically, where
Yeah.
they feel zen. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Exactly.
what unfolded in my life was a series of chaos. It started off with divorces, plural, and I lost a child
Mhm.
at 8 weeks old, which
Mhm.
really spurred an awakening spiritually for
Oh, yeah.
me because I was trying to figure out why. What was the cause? What was the
Mhm.
purpose? Why, like why?
Yeah.
After
Mhm.
that, it was more compounding events, which impacted my health greatly.
Mhm.
And so
Wow.
I became disabled. I ignored it enough, even in
Mhm.
my awakening, that I became physically disabled and got so sick that my body said, okay, I'm going to sit you down and now you're going to figure it out.
Forced R&R, right? Boom.
Exactly. Exactly. I lost my speech.
Oh my
I
gosh.
lost mobility in my hands and my legs. I have tremors even now. Um, and so I kept thinking after all of these health issues, what could I do physically? Well, silly, water. You don't fall in the water.
Right.
And so, along with looking at meditation and looking at mindfulness and looking at energy medicine and sound medicine, just frequency medicine in general, the water was the missing element for me. And
Literally,
so,
the element.
literally, exactly, exactly. So, I recently graduated from ocean therapy, healing therapy
Yeah.
practitioner course. So I'm looking forward to bringing that out to the public and sharing it with people like myself that, have gone through a lot of different things, especially health crises and working hand in hand with Western medicine.
Yeah.
Um, mindfulness and connection is imperative to go hand in hand with Western medicine.
Yeah.
You have to have a positive mindset. It helps. It helps
Yeah.
pain. It helps with pain. It helps with your body's healing abilities. Yeah, I just find that it helps so much in my
Yeah.
journey.
Especially since our bodies are made 50, 60, depending on what age we're at, I hear, made
Yeah,
of water. So water is such a huge influence on us.
yeah. Actually, when we're born, we're about 78% water.
Right?
As
Yeah.
we, yeah, as we age, it comes down to about 60% for most of us.
Yeah.
But the different organs are made up of water.
Yeah.
Your heart is approximately 83% water.
Wow.
Your lungs also run up in that area, I believe. I could be wrong, but you're absolutely correct.
Wow.
And
So,
water basically never changes. It never leaves our earth. It never leaves our atmosphere. It just changes cycle.
right? Yeah.
So, you go from rain to, fog, condensation, evaporation. And so we're sharing the same water that our ancestors had
Yeah.
when you think about it.
It's crazy that, I mean, our water, our body returns to the earth, and that moisture, it joins the rest of it and comes about. Yeah, it never goes away. It just changes form.
It's like energy.
Wow. Yeah, from a drop to, I usually had like the whole journey of our spirit is like we come from a sea of, unconditional love, little drops, and we evaporate because we wanted to experience what does it feel like to be separate from the ocean? And so we evaporate and go and become a cloud. We zip across and join others in the cloud to go onto land, and then we become either a snowflake, a raindrop or something to fall. What does it feel like falling? And then we
Right.
gather as, puddles and streams and, lakes and make our way back to the ocean. So it is like a cycle
Absolutely.
of life, right? Wow.
Absolutely. And when you think of it, it's just amazing. I mean, it's not something that I thought about, even an avid water person myself. It's not something that I thought about in that much depth
Yeah.
until, you start to really examine it. So,
Beautiful.
yeah, definitely a beautiful journey. Beautiful journey. Um, so basically, I try to bring water into all of my healing modalities. So I do
Mhm.
Reiki, I do sound healing, I do crystal healing. Um, I'm incorporating a new thing, more like empathic listening in nature, just bringing people next to and into nature.
Mhm.
Um, Most of my class information, we were lucky enough to have a book called The Blue Mind by Wallace J. Nichols. Um, the surprising science on how being near, in, on, under can, or water, excuse me, being the surprising science that shows how being near, in, on, or underwater can make you happier, healthier, more connected, and better at what you do.
Mm.
So it's a mouthful.
Beautiful.
So if you ever want a good read on water and the science backing it, it's a really good read too. So, but that's where most of our information is coming from, and the wave therapy and water therapies for autistic individuals and people with PTSD and people on disability that have missing limbs, things of that nature. Bringing them to the water and bringing them into the ocean has been
Mm.
one of the most healing things in their experience, according to this book. And I can totally relate. I completely related that it was just something, especially where grief is concerned as well.
Mm.
I never responded to grief therapy in an office. And
Mm.
so bringing it outside of the walls and into nature was one of my goals, even if I was only qualified to just listen and just bring them out and make them feel better. So that's
Yeah,
one of the things I'm looking forward to bringing into my practice.
that is beautiful. I'm thinking we're born of water. What the water breaks, here we come. Healing tears are the water is release, just like water, water everywhere. You don't realize that's what we're born of water, and then we return to water afterwards as we decompose, even. But
Right.
wow, wow.
And there's a whole demographic of people that um, they're not connected to water. They have a fear of water.
Hmm.
They're not brought up around the water. And so some of the people that I was lucky enough to have master classes with showed us that they're bringing programs into other countries too. Surfing ones predominantly just seems to be something that people connect to and want to learn. But they're bringing them into other countries where women and children, especially women and children, weren't allowed near the water.
Mm.
And so I'm looking forward to potentially doing the same and
Mm.
helping a whole demographic of people connect in the way that they feel safe enough to connect. And I want to hold that space for them so that
Yeah,
they can experience the joy that I feel with water and the healing.
yeah. My mom actually was scared to death of water, like deep water. And and she thought, because it feels like you're being smothered, like going underwater is what scared her. If she could be up to her waist in a pool, fine, but if she ended up going underwater, it would freak her out. Either she thought someone tried to smother her when she was a child, or now that I know about past lifetimes, maybe we were a witch. Boop, is she going to float or not?
Right.
You never
Mhm.
know where
Can only
the
float so
trauma
much.
is. Yeah, where's the trauma? But that's amazing because, I mean, swimming in water, people are drawn to the beaches and to lakes, and kids, of course, love water. They like to play in baths. It is natural. It does feel that way, and unless there's trauma that created fear around it, which
Yes.
it
And
cheats.
generational trauma.
Yeah, cheats them out of that opportunity. So I
Mm-hmm.
love that. I love that you're going to try to bring that in.
Yes, I would love to. I mean, I am looking forward to doing that. I started off being frightened of the water. There's a children's book coming about my experiences with my floaty and learning to swim. I was terrified, and then once I got over it, you couldn't get me out of it. So
Right. That's great. So I love it. So a children's book we can look forward to coming soon too.
yes,
Oh, how fun.
yes.
How fun. Well, definitely you, of course, will let me know when that comes out because I'd love to share it with all of my followers, for sure. That's great.
So, what is it that brought you to water in your life? Do you have any experiences that stand out for you that bring your heart close to water?
What's interesting is that um, I taught myself to swim, and it was in California, and when we lived in Anaheim, and we lived in an apartment complex, and I didn't know how to swim, but my older brother did, and so they were all playing on the deep end of the pool, but my mom, no, you better, because her fear, you better stay in the shallow, you can't go into that, and I would my brother like would push me out in the deep end and I would panic to get to the side. And then one day my mom was she was reading a book, watching us swim, and here I go swimming right by, and she was like, what when did that happen? And it was just like a natural flow with that. And that just don't always stood out to me, that it just came to me that, all right, this is how I'm gonna swim. And it feels natural, with all of that. But I love being by water, but mainly lakes because I like cool weather, not so much hot and humid and blasting sand. um, but I enjoy, streams and rivers and just sitting by it and hearing like I actually made a couple ponds, koi ponds in the backyard of one of our houses and ended up almost being a swimming pool. One area was like 5 feet deep. It's when I was breaking, my first relationship was breaking up, and um, when I was digging the hole, and it got deeper and deeper and bigger and bigger, and they thought, "Are you going to bury me in there?" And I'm like, "Don't give me any ideas." But I love the sound. I had big waterfalls, and I always love the water features. So it's very calming,
Yeah.
um, energies that come in there. I actually had a fountain in my office at work when I was a manager, and people would come in with it running. They're like, "I'll be right back," because it makes you have to go to the restroom. I was like, maybe I need to put a little switch on my foot where it's not on, and people come in that I'm like, okay, conversation's open, over, and suddenly the water fountain starts to go, and then they're like, bye.
That's really interesting because what I learned, and I'm finding it's interesting that your water changed throughout your situations in your life. So in your office, you were able to bring in a fountain, and at
Mhm,
home you had a pond, and when you were looking for some place to just zen out, you went to a lake. Your water changes.
mhm,
Um, and what's interesting to me is that bringing water to people doesn't always look like bringing them to the water, like literally, okay, here's the water, get in. Um, my goal is to bring them water, even if they're landlocked. So
mhm,
there's different types of water. There's like
mhm,
7 different types of water that you can bring in, to your life. You have your normal 4, which is like wild water. So you have oceans, lakes, streams, etc. You
yeah,
have domestic water,
yeah,
which is like your faucet, your bathtub, your shower, so you can go and zen out in the bath.
right.
You have your urban water, which is like fountains, water features, fire hydrants, things like that, where people gather, in an urban setting. You also have like virtual water, so art, film,
Mm,
digital uh, water, that people go to museums and look at beautiful artwork of water, or
mm,
they make resin art of water to bring in that blue, uh, that color frequency into their lives. But then there's like 3 other ones that people don't really think about. So there's metaphorical water, which I notice that you do use a lot.
I do.
So going with the flow and reflection and reflecting,
Hmm.
back on such and such. So
Yeah.
there's metaphor. There is ethereal or imaginary, which is something that's personally like a personal creation. So your meditation, or your travel during your meditation to a water source.
Mm,
And the final one is embodied water, which is like dance, or something, like embodying water. So movement of water, or sound embodiment, things
mm.
like that.
So sound waves,
Sound
flow
waves.
of music, flow of
Yes,
dance, because the
yes.
flowiness of
You emulate and
water. Yeah.
embody that water, and have it come out onto an art, creative space.
Wow. I love that. So yeah, there's all this different type of water, all this different type of experience. Where does astrology, like water signs and your astrological birth chart, does that come into
I would
um
I would say so. Yeah, sure,
right?
absolutely. Because when you're talking about embodiment, sometimes,
Hmm.
a Cancer can definitely embody water, like a water, emotion, uh,
Hmm.
things like that. So I would say yes. I would
That's
say
part of that.
absolutely.
Probably the esoteric spiritual type of energy is a lot with that, because I'm, even though I'm an Aquarius sun, I've got like a stellium in Pisces and a
Hmm.
grand trine kite, small trine of water and a bunch of other water in my chart too, which so I'm just really drawn to that emotional water side too. But
Yeah.
I love that. I
Same
love that.
Scorpio moon. I am very
Yeah.
intense when I'm intense.
Right? Scorpio,
The
Cancer,
Taurus
Pisces, boom,
side of
boom.
me and the Scorpio side look at each other and go, well, here we go.
Oh,
Hold
yeah.
on.
Just, might as well just go for the ride. Woo, hands up in the air. Let's go on the roller coaster, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, beautiful.
Absolutely. But I find bringing those types of water into even just a meditation. After my final during this course, I did a meditation exercise on what does your water look like at the moment. So if you were to imagine a body of water right now, what would it look like?
Wow.
And it wouldn't have to be your normal, like my ocean. That's my water. But in the moment, right now, if I was to pick a water source, it would be just like a waterfall.
Hmm. Me too.
And how does that movement of that water in that visualization, and where does it go? How does that show you how you love and how you
Mm,
receive love?
mm.
Does it fall from that waterfall like really hard and fast, and then it like disappears really fast into like this little into the rocks and you don't see it anymore?
Oh, yeah.
Or does it flow into a stream that flows nice and smooth like glass, to the ocean? How does your water look? Because water embodies emotion in
Wow.
in you know in our lives. So it's amazing the things that you can just bring in, even if the person isn't in the water or near the water.
Yeah, or scared to death of the water. And then they're like,
Exactly.
well, I can start by bringing it in here, seeing it here, feeling it, and then stick your toe in real water eventually.
Right. Exactly. And hold space enough for them to be like, okay, yes, you did it. Cool. We can go now if you need to, or
Yeah,
do you want to continue? You
yeah.
know, just bring them to a
Beautiful.
different space.
Beautiful. Um, so are you thinking, I don't, and I apologize if you have a YouTube channel that I'm totally unaware of, but are you thinking about doing any kind of YouTube, TikTok where you share any kind of meditations or something like that?
Actually, I'm developing my website right now.
Cool. All
And on
right.
one of the pages, I'm looking to feature meditations that
Oh,
people
cool.
go on. And it wouldn't
Beautiful.
necessarily have to be me, just me. I would love to have people do meditations on there and refer them, market their meditations as well so that they can get some love from that too.
Mm,
So yes, yes, not necessarily on YouTube. I never thought of YouTube, but on the website for
yeah.
sure.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. It's like, there's so many different places. In fact, I'm on my website, I'm gonna have a page dedicated to my cozy Care Bears. So you'll be featured on there.
All right,
And we'll refer back. And so once your website is completed, I'll put a link on there for that too.
awesome, sounds
So
good.
in the meantime, um, how can they reach you if people are interested in learning more about the water therapy that you are able to offer or
Sure.
any of your other items?
Sure. If they have any questions or they want to just touch base and or curious about my offerings, it's waterwisdomhealing@gmail.com, all lowercase.
Perfect. 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 And we'll put that up on the screen here too for everyone for a little bit here.
Thank you.
But I'm excited for your journey. I know this is like a culmination of a lifetime of adventures. Like you said, your life is a journey, not a destination, and just everything. It's like going up a mountain. It's back and forth these paths that just been taking you higher and higher and higher.
Right.
And this is an amazing. I feel like it's an amazing turning point in your life too. It's just like it feels like, oh, here we go. I have to do the water. All these
Right.
streams reaching the ocean. It's like all these different streams that you've been experiencing are all now flooding into one source, into an ocean.
Yeah.
filling it up. That's
That's
cool.
exactly what it feels like, bringing
Hmm.
grief, bringing chronic illness, bringing losing children. I
Hmm.
lost children that weren't, deceased, that they were due to divorce, being
Hmm.
separated. Like, there's all kinds of things that I've experienced that I would love to help other people process.
Hmm.
And not necessarily that I'm going to do that for them. I'm going to help them connect inside so they have a way to just process all of this, all of the little
Yeah.
things that happen in your life.
Yeah, you can't, you can teach people to surf, but you can't surf for them. So
Right.
when they're facing their emotional waves, see me and me water, I can do the water thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're
Yeah.
riding these emotional waves, you can teach people to surf. You can even stand on the board with them and teach them, but the joy of riding your emotional waves is when you are out there and not that I've ever surfed, but it's like it's this I could just feel this joy of surfing on your own
Mhm.
and the dolphins going beside you, and the sharks are nowhere near us. The
I do not surf, not yet. I
yeah.
do have balance issues, so you know, but
Hmm.
the first time I ever got a wetsuit and got on even just like a regular board was 2 months ago,
Yeah. Well,
which was awesome.
if little dogs can you know ride a ride a surfboard, you can do it on all fours. You don't have to worry about standing up on twos, right?
No, no, at that point, I'm just happy to be out there.
I know, right? It's like, hey, I'll sit on the surfboard out there. It doesn't matter.
I did have, before this course came into my life, I was doing a meditation. And the funny thing is that I was at the ocean and I was on a surfboard in the meditation.
Wow.
And I was just sitting on the board watching a sunrise.
Hmm.
And I looked over and there was another me on another board. And she looked
Whoa.
over at me and just smiled at me.
Oh.
And was like, we did it. And I'm thinking, what'd we do?
Yeah, right.
but,
You'll
but yeah,
see.
yeah, you'll see. Stick with me and you'll see.
Wow. I love Spirit. They know exactly what we need and to aid us on our journey. I just love you know, even though we go through tsunamis and different things in our life, more water, when we're hit with stuff, when we're able to look back and go, I'm grateful for having faced all that, and because I wouldn't be who I am today without it. And um, I love all these tools that you're able to help and all of us on this journey from our chaos to our cozy. It just helps take us to new levels, and we can all help each other in all our different ways. And that's why I wanted to share you. And I feel like we'll be back for additional episodes because I know there's a bunch of different things that I would like to dive in with you and your different modalities in sharing those with people, and as the more tools that we can have in our toolkit and the options. It's like going to a buffet. You don't ever normally, unless it's really small buffet, end up with everything on your plate that's available. You're
Right.
like, man, or at least to eat that time when we go through the buffet. It's like, oh, I want some of that, not that, ooh, that.
Yeah.
But that we can choose from those things and see what resonates. So I yeah, I would invite you back if you'll have me um in to talk more about different modalities too.
Absolutely, anytime. I would love to. I
Perfect,
enjoy it
perfect.
very much.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to bring this one to a close for now, just to kind of keep them a little condensed. But thank you so much for taking the time and for sharing your journey on how you're getting here. And of course, we look forward to seeing you some more.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much. I
All right,
appreciate it.
absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. And remember, as you're going throughout each and every second of every day, that you truly are eternally and unconditionally loved by the Mother and the Father of all things, our Creator. And of course, we love you too. So, till we see you guys again, hang in there, take care of yourself. We'll see you soon.